Do I have my thoughts collected? I guess we'll find out. Anyway. Oh hi, didn't see you there. Welcome to the Lewd picks of November 19th? Yes, that's correct. I don't know how many episodes have we had. I think this is the 6th or 7th one, or 100 million, something along those lines. Either way, welcome. Step into my office, sit down, and listen while I regale you with tales of gaming news chiefly from Japan, but you know, my interests go around the globe, so let's take a look at it. First thing I really want to take a look at are the Game Awards 2017 nominees. Usually, a lot of people have a lot of problems with the Game Awards for various reasons. Me personally, I kinda realized and long since accepted that this is like a big-ass advertorial show more than anything else. And my expectations for this are trailers, mostly. And you know how I feel about trailers, so it's like, it's a double-edged sword. I'm kind of looking forward to some trailers, but mostly the announcements themselves. I kinda am hoping for some sort of announcement by, like, From Software. It has happened before. Remember where Dark Souls 2 was announced? The Game Awards. So that could be cool. We could finally see something there. Maybe Capcom could do something, but that's not so likely because it's a Japanese company, and Japanese companies usually do their announcements in their own shows. So if there's anything gonna be there from Capcom, I would expect the PlayStation Experience in December. Though this is also December, so is it even the same weekend? Huh. I think I'll take a look at that at some point. Cinematic trailers and CG trailers would actually be pretty okay with me. Don't show me too much gameplay, but we'll get to that. Alright, I see you guys in the chat. Welcome to the Lewd picks. You got here just in time. So let's take a look at the nominees. This episode may go a bit longer than I was expecting, but we have to look at this, right? We have to look at this. So the Game of the Year nominees are Horizon Zero Dawn, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Persona 5, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and Super Mario Odyssey. And I like to say I have many problems with this, but I actually don't really. Because I kind of understand that the games that I would like to see nominated are very niche, and they probably don't have like the wide appeal like these nominees. I think these are pretty solid nominees from this year. As like the global average gamer goes. Because when it comes to Japanese games and RPGs, which is my favorite genre, Persona 5 is probably the best and most accessible nominee of all the games that I have played this year. When it comes to Japanese stuff anyway. Maybe the PUBG is an unfinished game, so that's getting a nominee. It's kind of weird. But if you look at Steam stats, the game's always played by like 2 million people at the same time all day long. So you can't deny the popularity, and you can buy the game. So for all intents and purposes, it's a finished product, right? It's kind of how it goes these days. Now Horizon Zero Dawn is kind of like, it's interesting, but it is sort of a Zelda-ish game, and it's on the Sony platform. So I think the Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda are pretty much sort of an equivalent game, but with a different aesthetic and on different platforms. So I think those are alright. Though it's kind of weird having these two games in the same genre. It's kind of weird, but you know. For me, it's really hard to look at the Game of the Year nominees and just take them seriously in any way, because this is just totally outside of my taste, or the range of taste. I would like to see Nier Automata, Persona 5, Nioh, and maybe... Well, I haven't played Gravity Rush 2, but I'm pretty sure it's a good game. Although, is it a Game of the Year? Probably not, I don't know. Definitely I would like to see more Japanese stuff, but I say that, but there are 3 games that are Japanese, so I think it's pretty good. So I'm pretty satisfied. I really can't complain much about this, you know. As much as I have many problems with Persona 5, I think it's a really good candidate for a Game of the Year. Anyway, let's take a look at the other ones. The newest Zelda follows the formula of regular open world games like Horizon, Far Cry. Yeah, that's as much as I know about the game too. So I think these nominees are pretty okay. I really can't complain about this too much. Best game direction. So Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda, Resident Evil 7, Super Mario Odyssey, and Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein. Man, Americans are messing my pronunciation up. Wolfenstein 2. So as far as I understand, the game direction is like kinda weird category. Maybe I should have had the nominees opened up somewhere, because there's like a brief description of the category. They almost never like really follow the defined category list. They just select this. Okay, I don't know how they select the stuff that wins these categories, but it's always like a bit suspicious, right? Anyway, game direction could mean so many things. It's kind of like whatever. Personally, I would like to see the game direction the way I understand it. I like for that to go to Resident Evil 7, because it's a game that you can play in 2 vastly different ways, and that must have been a pain to direct as a studio. You can play the game normally like a 2D first-person shooter, or you can play it in a VR, and the game is exactly the same. Now, why I consider this very important is that I don't know about like any VR game that's like a real game. It's all just technical demos, and it's not a real game. It's just I just haven't seen a single game that's like fully featured single-player campaign, maybe with a narrative and fleshed out mechanics and like full movement and all this stuff. And Resident Evil 7 does all of this. And you don't need VR to play the game, so it's like, this shit is pretty important, I think. But, I don't know, this could be pretty much anything. Not sure about this. Now, best narrative. Best narrative. You guys know I'm an expert on narratives, right? So the way I understand it, so that's best story, basically. Best story and storytelling. Now, I want to pause here, because if a game is supposed to win the best narrative of the year, and it's a video game, you have to be using video game narrative, video game storytelling, which means using the mechanics and weave them with the story, right? Now, you still may not fully understand what exactly do I mean, but for example, Nier Automata here is probably the best example. Pretty sure Wolfenstein 2 doesn't do much of anything like that, if the first game is to be any indicator. The thing is that you can understand like pieces of the story or some information you're supposed to gain regarding the story or the characters through the mechanics. Like it could be a very small thing, it could be a very important, huge thing. So in Nier Automata, there's one perfect example of a small thing being a piece of narrative, of video game narrative. You have these mod chips, the chips that define your stats and like abilities and stuff like that. And one of those chips is a CPU, which is like the basic thing of every Android character in the world. If you remove the CPU, you die, and you get a game over screen. And that is exactly what I'm talking about. That is video game narrative. If you want to quit the game, you can kill yourself by removing your brain chip, so to say. And that's a very small thing, but to me, that's really important. So from these games, I think the best examples of this would be Nier and probably Hellblade. Because in Hellblade, you get like a simulation of the psychosis or whatever the mental issue is for the main character. It's supposed to be like a split personality and like voices in the head and all that stuff. And from the videos that I've seen, the Hellblade does this extremely well. So these are the best examples that should be winning this award. Now, When it comes to the overall story and characters, I think Nier Automata is actually kind of weak, especially comparing to the first game, where the characters are all amazing and interesting and deep. In Automata, I felt like the characters are way less interesting and way less fleshed out, and in general, the story is like not as compelling. Although, this may be another part of the genius of Taro Yoko, because in the first game, we were following, well, I want to say we were following humans, but that's also not exactly correct. Either way, what I'm trying to say is that in Automata, we were following androids and unconsciously trying to emulate human emotions. So all the dialogues, or everything they are feeling, all the emotions they're showing, they're kind of off. They don't feel quite right, and it's like, I'm like looking at them and I'm like, I don't know, man, if I believe what you're going through. I'm like, not really invested either, because they're just androids, but that may be intentional because they're not human. So their emotions are a bit strange. They're not right. They don't feel right. Now, I don't want to give too much credit to Taro, but it's possible. It's possible. Anyway, I also don't really have anything much to say here, because I absolutely do not believe Persona 5 should be here, for example. I think Persona 5's story is really weak. Really weak. Especially comparing to Persona 4. It's kinda wow. The beginning of Persona 5 is amazing, like the first hour, and then it goes back to like your regular, ordinary anime for teens, and it's like, man, I don't give a shit about anything that's happening right now. And that keeps going until the very end of the game. The very first part of the game and the very, very final part of the game are the only interesting parts when it comes to the narrative. Fortunately, Persona 5 as a game, as an RPG and dungeon crawler, is amazing, so I was able to go through it, but I was not impressed by the story. Anyway, best art direction. You guys know who has to win this, right? Here we got Cuphead, Destiny 2, Horizon, Zelda, and Persona 5. For my money, it's gotta be Cuphead. That game's vision is so incredible, and I can't believe they actually pulled it off. It's been in the making for years and years and years, and they finally did it. Considering how many people were developing the game, how much of a budget did they have, I'm impressed. And it looks amazing. It's undeniable. It's unique, and just maybe even innovative. I don't know. Persona 5, like the technical level of graphics is weak. It's like it is a PS3 game running at 1080p. Now I'm okay with that. I don't need like a flashy, super ultra high fidelity graphics to have fun. But also, there's one thing about Persona 5 I want to say. The menus. A lot of people like the menus in Persona 5, right? And I like them too, because they're animated, they're like very elaborate, and all that stuff, and they're stylish. That's the thing. Everybody says, "Oh man, the menus in Persona 5, they're so stylish, right?" The thing is, they're gaudy as fuck. They're totally tasteless. It's just a bunch of shit thrown on top of each other, and there's just too much. If they reined it a little bit, if they had some sort of editor who said, hey, oh, okay, this may be a little too crazy, okay? Let's just tone it down a little bit. That would be perfect. But as it is, it's a little too much for my taste anyway. I like them, I like the idea. Mostly I like the idea. But I think they went a little too far with all the weird ass animations. For example, the victory screen, and you know, that takes too fucking long. When your menus get in the way of player experience, that's where I draw the line. And the game is long as heck, so you're gonna be seeing those menus a lot. I thought Persona 4, especially Persona 4 Golden, was about the right balance between stylish and tasteful and unobtrusive menus. Now when it comes to like Destiny and Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't think those games have very strong art direction. They have very high fidelity graphics, they are technically proficient, but as far as art direction, it looks like a 3D game by anybody. It looks very generic, I would say. It can look beautiful, but generic. It's kind of like looking at a painting of Bob Ross. It's like a, you know, it's a painting of a freaking mountain with some trees. You've seen that many times. That's called kitsch, right? Everybody knows what kitsch is. And I think the Destiny and Horizon Zero Dawn are exactly that. They're kitsch as fuck. It can be beautiful on a very basic level, on a very superficial level, and very technically proficient with all the like shading and lighting. But as far as art direction, nah. Breath of the Wild. Zelda is also a really great nominee. So for my money, Cuphead, Zelda, and Persona 5 are all really good nominees for this award. I can't complain about this either. Also, I wanted to say, my game of the year is Nioh, okay? You guys should know that by now. If not, that's my game of the year. So, game and direction, probably not Nioh. Best narrative, probably not Nioh. It's just, you know, Nioh is just rehashing Japanese history and mixing in some Japanese folklore and mythological beings. So, it's not very original, right? I wouldn't say the story was amazing. It was alright. I had no problems with it. It was just enough to like propel me forward without being in the way. And there were some cutscenes which were very, very well made. But as far as the story in general goes, it's whatever. It's not important. You don't play Nioh for the story. Let's say that. Art direction, same thing again. Although maybe some of the yokai enemies are extremely well rendered and they have very unique vision. I don't think it's enough to call it the best art direction of the year. Definitely not when you are comparing to Cuphead. There's no way. Cuphead's gotta win this. Best music. Okay, I don't even want to talk about the nominees because they're totally pointless. The best music, absolutely 100% must be Nier Automata. Cuphead has great music. Destiny 2, I don't know. People seem to love the Halo guy, the composer, who's also doing Destiny 2. I only played Destiny 1 so far, and that has some really good dynamic music, but I don't think it's memorable. Zelda is always great. Persona 5, I thought was a great soundtrack, but not nearly as memorable as Persona 3 or 4, so it's kind of like, weird. I think that may be because of the genre. Acid jazz is definitely less memorable because it's sort of like a improvisation vibe, and those do not usually have like catchy tunes, save for one or two tracks like the casino dungeon and the main battle theme. You probably will remember that for years to come because you hear that so much. But otherwise, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel strongly about Persona 5 music. However, Nier Automata, man, that soundtrack is glorious. Easily the most memorable and the most impactful that I have seen, or heard rather. So for me, definitely Nier Automata. And again, the nominees are pretty damn good. I can't complain about this either. And Mario games, okay, I hate Mario, right? But I cannot deny the strengths of Mario game. And one of those strengths is always the music. It always is pleasant and relaxing, and it just feels good. It feels right every time. They never miss a beat, I feel like. So I can't deny this. I cannot deny this, and I will not deny this. It's a good nominee. Audio design. Now we're getting to the juicier and more interesting parts as far as I'm concerned. So audio design, the way I understand it, is like sound effects, music mixing. We talked about music mixing in Dead Space, you guys remember, right? In 2011, I don't remember, but I hope Dead Space 2 won some sort of sound direction and music direction like award. Because if not, then there's a great, great injustice this world has committed. But, yeah, never mind. You're going with Cuphead for best music? Yeah, I like it too. I like it a lot too. 1920s, 1930s, fuck yeah. So audio design, Destiny 2, Hellblade, Zelda, Resident Evil 7, and Mario Odyssey. So Destiny 2 is probably gonna be a pretty good candidate for like the the sound effects. From what I've seen from Destiny 1 and from what I've played on Destiny 2 beta, the guns feel so good, partly because of the sound effects. The sound design is pretty fucking good. But for me, I think it again has to be Hellblade because the whispers in your ear and the hallucinations and all that stuff is so well complemented by the sound design. It's really, really strong. So when it comes to this and building the atmosphere, man, this category is pretty tough because I'm pretty sure that Breath of the Wild has really good, like, again, atmospheric soundscape. Resident Evil 7, from what I have seen, also really draws you in. But it's kind of cheating because it's a first-person horror game. You're gonna be drawn in anyway. And again, Super Mario Odyssey, I can't complain about this either. Man, so far, I can't really complain about anything. I can't. Neo had some really great music, but it's definitely not anywhere near the level of Nier Automata. Sound effects are also good, but again, nothing too amazing. Best performance. So we're talking obviously only about English voice acting. If there was like an award for a Japanese voice actor, whoa, man. That would have to be like an entire Academy Award, like the Oscars, because there's so many fucking voice performances there. But anyway, English voice acting, I don't know much about. You guys know me, I always switch to Japanese voice acting, so it's like, I don't care. But I would imagine that the Hellblade's voice acting is pretty fucking good, because, and here I draw my knowledge from the previous Ninja Theory games, those being Heavenly Sword and Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Those games have probably some of my favorite, not just voice acting, but performances. It is indeed a performance, because they do the mocap, then they do the face cap, and they do the voices. Now obviously Uncharted, Naughty Dog, they do the same thing. So, and they're really good at it too. So, it's just, to me, I don't want Claudia Black and Laura Bailey to win again, because they win all the time. Claudia Black has been around the block, she's done a lot of stuff. She's voiced some of my favorite characters, like Morrigan in Dragon Age, and Chloe again in Uncharted. She's a great voice actress. Laura Bailey, she's done a good job in the first Nier, if I remember right. So she's also good, but I like a new face to be recognized, you know? I'd like that. Oh, you didn't like the Zelda sound design as much? You're more into the iconic themes for separate areas rather than overall atmospheric track? I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. That's definitely one of the things when games go open world, there's usually some sort of sacrifice in some way. We've seen that in Evil Within too, but let's not get into that. Right, games for impact. I'm not sure what this exactly means. It's probably something about like a game tackling some sort of really tough issue when it comes to the, I guess, human condition, you could say. We got Bury Me, My Love. So we're probably gonna have some indie games here that I don't know. Bury Me, My Love, I don't know what that is. Hellblade, we've talked about. Life is Strange, the new one. Night in the Woods, Please Knock on My Door, and What Remains of Edith Finch. So I can't really talk about this too much. I have played none of these games. I can only guess as to Life is Strange. I played the first one, but I didn't play the second one. So I really don't have an input on this one. But if I was to go from what I do know, Hellblade is tackling an issue that I have never seen any other game to really tackle, or at least not tastefully. So I feel pretty strongly about Hellblade. I haven't even played the game, but it's definitely something on my radar. And hopefully one of these days I will get around to it and stream it, because I really am interested in that game. Best ongoing game. Now I have an opinion on this one. Destiny 2, Grand Theft Auto Online, Overwatch, PUBG, Rainbow Six Siege, and Warframe. So these are pretty interesting candidates. Ongoing game. You know, to me, ongoing game means a game that has been released and is now being supported beyond its release, right? So I think this category really shouldn't have PUBG. Purely based on a technicality, because what PUBG is doing is pretty much an ongoing game. The one little snag is that the game is not released yet, so I don't like that too much. Now Destiny 2 has just released, and I don't think you can really put it there so close to its release. You know, it kind of feels like cheating a bit. I mean, they are coming out with the first expansion just now, just recently, or close in the future, or something like that. So it's kind of weird. Now, Grand Theft Auto Online, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, and Warframe, those are great candidates because GTA Online has been out for a while, and there's been so many expansions and DLCs that are pretty substantial when it comes to the content that you can play. So that's good. Overwatch is adding new characters and new maps and rebalances and all that stuff. That's great. Rainbow Six Siege has had some really huge updates from what I remember, and all of them were really helpful, and it improved the quality of life, and just everybody loved the changes, so that's good. But for my money, you know I've been talking about this game, right? I've been talking about this game for the last month. Warframe? This game has been out for years, and man, the game is like... When I first played the game 4 years ago, it was such a different game. This is like a vastly improved game in many, many ways, and it keeps getting even bigger and crazier, so... I don't know, man. And it's also free to play. I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to ongoing game. It's a free to play game that has been going on for a long time, and I think that's kind of important. I guess you could also lump in like League of Legends and stuff like that. Well, yeah, it's an interesting category for sure. What you guys think? Rainbow Six has great after-release support, Warframe has absurdly good after-release support, and Overwatch has good support and has future plans. Yeah, I think this category is pretty good. I think these nominees are great. This is pretty tight. I think, well, you know, realistically speaking, it's between GTA Online and PUBG, just purely on the popularity of these two games. But I think it's pretty close. Alright, best mobile game. I'm glad that they finally... Oh, 1 minute. 1 minute. Let's go back to the ongoing game. Me personally, I would also put in Neo in the ongoing game. But it's not exactly correct, I guess, because the game is pretty much finished now. It's just that I would like to commit a minute to Neo and its post-release support because the DLCs have been amazing. Just I cannot believe how good the DLCs were. Considering the price point and how much more game time did they give me, it's crazy value. And not only were there like paid DLCs, but there were also free updates that improved things and added more content. So for me, if this was a post-release support category, Neo is there 100%. 100%. Yeah, for sure. Because I finished the game on the New Game Plus difficulty, and I was like 150 hours in, and I was like, alright, this game is awesome. It's probably my game of the year. One of the most amazing games I've played in my entire life, and I do not say that lightly. Neo is really that good. And then there's another DLC with the new NG Plus cycle. And then there's another DLC with another NG Plus cycle, and then another one. So basically the 3 DLCs gave me about 450, well, basically 500 hours extra game time for very little money. Each DLC was, I think, 10 bucks or shekels, or whichever is your equivalent. So to me, that is amazing, and I love it. And I'm not even done with the game. I want to play more. I still want to play more. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not, well, it is multiplayer, but it's not focusing on multiplayer. Definitely not an ongoing multiplayer. But the thing is, one of the free updates for the game was a PvP mode, which wasn't there before, so that's pretty cool too. Anyway, there's a new Tom Berry follower. Thanks for the follow. I'm glad you're enjoying the podcast. Let's hurry on swiftly because we've been on this for quite a while and there's still way more to go. So, I want to say here that I'm glad that the Game Awards realized that a mobile game and handheld game are indeed completely different things. So I can't really speak too much about this, because I don't really play phone games anymore. I had a episode in my life where I played some mobile game, but I gotta say, they're all the fucking same, dude, except the ones that aren't, and here they are: Fire Emblem Heroes, Hidden Folks, Monument Valley 2, Old Man's Journey, and Super Mario Run. Of the ones that is the most similar to all the other clones and stuff is actually Fire Emblem Heroes. But as far as I'm concerned, this is also the best game from these categories. Because Fire Emblem Heroes, while appearing like another clone with the gacha system and leveling endlessly and stuff like that, it still has a very good degree of challenge and like actual gameplay. It's not auto-playing itself. I mean, there's probably a mode for that too, but if you want to clear like one of the daily challenges and week-long challenges and all that stuff, it can get pretty difficult, and there's multiple ways to tackle these challenges, so that to me is like the perfect mobile game. The other ones are more, I think, more casual or more narrative focused. I think the Old Man's Journey is probably, I don't know anything about most of these, but they're like board games and stuff. So that's that. And as far as the other games, Super Mario Run, it's like a casual thing, right? It's like not too much there crazy going on. God damn it! What's this work, us? Give me a second, guys. I'm being interrupted. Maybe not. Well, anyway. What was I saying? Okay, Fire Emblem Heroes. Basically, it's a mobile game, but it's a free-to-play. But it's actually, just like Meta says, it's a Fire Emblem game. It really feels like it didn't have to compromise too much of the gameplay that it's known for. So that's good. Now, handheld games, you know, it pains me because I own a Vita. How is it to whip it out because nobody believes me? We got the Vita boys, but freaking Sony Computer Entertainment, blah blah blah. They're like, Vita? What's that? Never heard about it. So the Western support of the console is non-existent, pretty much. But there's still some stuff coming. I'm still playing on the stupid thing like almost every day. So yeah, well, sucks. There were some really good games a few years back, but at that point, they never got nominated here, so it's like, man, who gives a shit? Fuck. I'm pissed. Anyway. Ever Oasis, Fire Emblem Echoes, Metroid Samus Returns, Monster Hunter Stories, and Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World. Yeah. This is or 3DS, right? I can't really speak too much about this because I don't own a 3DS and I don't know anything about this, but pretty sure Fire Emblem Echoes is fun. I like Fire Emblem. What do you guys think about these things? Metroid Samus Returns, is that the remake of one of the Metroid games? Of the NES games? I think that's one of them, right? There's so many Metroid games, I don't even know. It is, okay. That's probably gonna be pretty good too. Although, is it 2.5D? It looks kind of weird to me when I was checking some videos out. It didn't look quite right. You know, if you're doing 2.5D on that low resolution, it looks really wonky. But it's definitely gonna look better in person when you have the 3DS in your hands. It definitely looks worse on like a PC captured footage. It always looks terrible. But in person, it's alright because the display is smaller and stuff. Best VR game, definitely Resident Evil 7 because it's an actual fucking game. It's an actual, like I said previously, it's a fully fledged single player campaign with full movement and mechanics and narrative. And just it's a normal game, and you can play it in VR, and it's cool. However, Star Trek Bridge Crew, well, from what I know anyway, it's a cool gimmick, but it's not the best VR game. No way. For my money, it's gotta be Resident Evil 7 because it's a fully featured game and it's in VR. That's what I've been waiting for like the past several years. I'm always looking out for like a VR game that's actually a game. And I think the Resident Evil 7 is like the first and the only one that I've seen thus far. Super Hot VR, that's really cool, but That's also not really like a fully featured game. It's like an arcade thing that you play in short bursts, from what I understand anyway. It doesn't have a story, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah. Now. Best action game. It pains my soul so much, because Nioh has absolutely zero chance to win this, because it's in the same category as Cuphead and Destiny 2. There's no way Nioh will even register on this damn category. But it is the best action game of this year, easily. There's no better action game this year. In the last 10 years, if you ask me. Maybe even longer than that. There is no better action game. Maybe even. I don't know. Definitely this year, there's not a better action game than this. To me personally, action game is a little too wide of a term. Because there's a platformer, there's a first-person shooter, and this is a 3D, like a third-person melee action RPG. So it's like, these are very different games, but they're all action games, I guess. So that's kind of weird. I don't know about this, but you know, you gotta consolidate somehow. You can't have like 8 million categories for 8 million genres. Although it is the Game Awards, so why not? Right? Well, anyway, you know what my vote is. I did my part. I went and voted for this thing. Nioh. But if Cuphead wins this, I'm not gonna be too pissed. You know, I can't be too pissed about that. The thing is, it's probably gonna be Destiny 2 because it's very popular, and we know that the Game Awards are advertorial shows. So don't get too butthurt about the winners, alright? That's the #1 thing I have to tell myself, and I'm telling that to you guys because you gotta remember this. Don't get butthurt. That is the #1 and most important thing about these things. It's their opinion. If you have your own opinion, make a video about it. That's what I'm doing here. Oh shit. I should probably do a Game of the Year. The Lewd of the Year? I'm gonna have to come up with a name for that, but we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna make a Game of the Year show. I guess it would be Lewd Picks of the Year or something like that. We're gonna look at that later. But yeah, Nioh is definitely the action game. So action adventure. Yeah, I guess they're talking about third person without third person action that has like a platforming and puzzle elements. So for that kind of thing, I think these are pretty good nominees. Again, Assassin's Creed Origins, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda, Super Mario Odyssey, Uncharted. I'm starting to sense a pattern here. These 3 games are like in almost every single category, I feel like. Anyway, best action adventure, I don't know, it could be anything. I feel like all these games are roughly the same, have roughly, not the same chance, but they're like in the same ballpark, so it's like, yeah, it could be any of these games and I wouldn't be too pissed. Maybe not Uncharted, because Uncharted is extremely fucking derivative and it's not doing anything new, from what I know anyway. So it's like, yeah, I would probably prefer that to go to a new IP, that being Horizon Zero Dawn, because if only because of the setting. You have the green post-apocalypse, and then robo-dinosaurs, and a female lead. I think that's pretty good. I think that deserves some recognition. Also, Assassin's Creed Origins being in Egypt and having an African protagonist is also pretty good. I'd like that to get some recognition too. Zelda going open world. I don't know how good this is. I don't know what the Zelda fans are saying about this game, but from what I'm seeing, I think people are very positive on this. However, is it the best action adventure game? I don't know. I think a lot of people are going crazy about Super Mario Odyssey, so maybe that's gonna be... But I wouldn't call that an action adventure. It's like a puzzle platformer. The emphasis on action isn't really there. Would you guys agree? I don't think that's a controversial thing to say, would it? Would it? The Lost Legacy, if I remember right, is like a standalone. It's not exactly DLC, but it's not exactly full $60 game either. So yeah, Horizon didn't do anything new for the genre. Yeah, I think it's kind of, well, none of these games are very innovative, right? They're all very standard traditional games. So I would go for something that's unique in some way, and I think Horizon is probably the most unique game here because of the setting. Yeah, I would be okay with Horizon winning this. Best RPG. Well, well, well. Now this is a very tricky category because we actually have some Japanese games in there? What? But it's the worst year for JRPGs to get into Best RPG nominee list because Divinity Original Sin 2 is there. I haven't played the game myself, but I've seen it, and I've seen people playing it, and I've seen people talking about it, and it's like one of the most interesting RPGs I've seen come out of a Western studio in a while. So this looks like a really solid candidate. Final Fantasy 15 has problems. It has issues. It has perhaps many issues, some of which were fixed after release, some of which are still being fixed. But I enjoyed the game very much. I'm not done with it. I'm gonna play more of it on stream too. However, I would definitely not call it the best RPG of the year. Also, I think the game came out last year, didn't it? I may be wrong about that, but I feel like it came out last year, not 2017. So that's kind of weird. I'm pretty sure this came out last November or something. Not sure what this is doing here. Maybe they were hurting for RPGs. I mean, you could have put Nioh in there. It's an action RPG. You could totally do that. I mean, if you're putting Nier there, you can totally put Nioh there as well, right? Right? I think it would be a better candidate than Final Fantasy 15, to be honest. Now, Nier Automata, I really don't want this game to win Best RPG of the Year because I don't think it's the best RPG. I think it's barely an RPG, and it's definitely not the best either. So it's like, yeah, I'm not sure what this is doing here. Nioh again would be much better candidate, if you ask me. It's not like in Nier you have like a choice in any of these story segments, but I don't think that's necessary for RPGs, for the JRPGs anyway. Persona 5, this has to be here. I don't think it's the best RPG of the year, but it's definitely gotta be in the nominee list because it's one of the best RPGs of the year, probably. South Park, The Fractured Butthole. Yeah, I don't know how much of a good RPG is this, but it is Obsidian, right? Ubisoft San Francisco and Ubisoft? Is it not Obsidian? Wait, let me take a look at this. Obsidian did the first one. They're not doing the second one? It's kind of peculiar. It is not. I wonder what's the reason behind that. Maybe Obsidian has their hands full. That's probably very likely. They are doing their own stuff now, and I could not be happier about that. Oh man, Obsidian is going some places. Every time Obsidian do like an interview or some sort of development diary, you know it's gonna be cool. Anyway, let's get back on the best RPG. From this list, I think it's gotta be Divinity. And that is probably shocking to you guys because I prefer Japanese games, right? But I really don't want Nier or Persona to win Best RPG because I really don't think those are the best. I really don't think they are. Honestly, don't believe that at all. And Final Fantasy 15 is 2016 game, so it's like, whatever, dude. What the fuck? Either way, I'm gonna be pretty okay with anybody winning this because I think all these games deserve it. Maybe not South Park. I feel pretty lukewarm on South Park games. If it's gonna be Persona, I'm not gonna be angry. It's a Japanese game. Good shit. Best fighting game. Now we're getting some touchy subjects. ARMS, Injustice 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Nidhogg 2, and Tekken 7. Not exactly sure about the Nidhogg nominee, but I think it's a good way to at least recognize the game. So I'm okay with that. Personally, you guys know which game is my favorite, right? Best fighting game of the year has gotta be Tekken 7. But there's a bunch of caveats. Tekken 7 isn't exactly 2017 game either. The game came out in Japanese and Korean arcades in 2015. So it's like, this game's already 2 years old, dude. Wowie. But yeah. As far as the spectatorship, I guess you could say. As far as the, well, here's the problem, right? So if we take a look at it purely like a product on paper, Injustice 2 is the best fighting game of the year. Because you have a huge roster of characters, you have a very well produced story mode, which has some of the best facial expressions and animations that I've seen in any game. It's really, really good. I could not believe my eyes. I was like, wait, since when does Injustice and NetherRealm Studios do this kind of thing? Interesting. Oh, I was pretty impressed. And I'm not easily impressed, let me say that. And there's a whole bunch of single player content that you can engage in. You have like guilds that you can create online. You can work towards a goal to unlock stuff. You can customize your characters, and the customization is pretty deep. There's also like timed events where you can get exclusive gear, and gear dictates your stats and visuals. And for online modes, you can turn off the stats while retaining the visuals. So all of this stuff is like, wow, I don't even know what else would I want in this game. You have frame data in practice mode. Like on paper, Injustice 2 is the best fighting game, for sure. I can't front about this, I can't lie about this. It's a really great product. But as far as personal preference goes, I gotta go with Tekken 7 because it's got the slow-mo. It's got... what else does it have? Well, it's got a bunch of stuff, but we talked about this before. It's just Tekken 7 is a game that fits my playstyle and my taste more. So that's basically it. It's definitely personal preference. But Tekken 7 has also more problems. It has like no tutorial at all. It doesn't have frame data in the practice mode, though you can get an app and you can get the frame data that way. That's okay. It also works real well. The story mode, while not as fleshed out or as long as Injustice, does some really cool stuff. And one of those things is actual video game narrative. We're bringing that back. Tekken 7 has video game narrative in the fighting game, like a fighting game scape, where you have two characters, the life bars, and there's like this specific example. When you deal a certain amount of damage to an opponent, you get like these flashbacks and music changes, stuff like that, and that is video game narrative, and it's fucking cool. It's really cool. So Injustice 2 is more like a movie that you watch and then fight some battles. In Tekken 7, you play the story mode, and it's like Injustice 2 had more money behind it, behind the story mode, and was more impressive from the visual standpoint. But actually playing it, I had way more fun with the short Tekken 7 story mode. Although the narrator is really... they should have gotten a different voice actor because that was just like, what the hell is going on here? Either way, for me it's Tekken 7, but on paper it's probably should be Injustice 2, to be fair. Best family game, I almost want to skip this because I don't play family games. Guys, you know that, right? Sonic Mania, Mario and Rabbids, Mario Kart 8, Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey. Man, these games are so out of my fucking interest range, it's crazy. Sonic Mania is probably the most interesting to me because I like the old Sonic games. I like Sonic 1, 2, and 3. All the other ones were whack as fuck. Maybe Spinball was alright, and the Mean Bean Machine. It's not exactly a Sonic game, but it's also a really good thing. Mario Kart. Yeah, Mario Kart. People love Mario Kart. I have no idea why, but people just love it. I feel like Mario Kart is Wipeout, except for kids. That's how I feel about Mario Kart. It's Wipeout, but it's for kids, and it's way less cool because it's not sci-fi, and you don't have like the hover jets and stuff like that. I don't know. That's definitely a taste thing, not like a quality thing or anything like that. Best strategy game. Halo Wars 2. I totally forgot about this game, but I think this is also 2016. Mario and Rabbids. It's like Mario XCOM, right? Total War Hammer 2, Tooth and Tail, and XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. I have no input on this, except that I guess, well, this is like an expansion. It's not exactly a standalone game, so kind of weird putting an expansion here, right? I think Warhammer 2 is pretty interesting. I've seen some stuff. That looks pretty good. Yeah, Meta feels strongly about this category. Sonic Mania isn't really a family game? Really? Is there something that's unsuitable for children? That would be interesting. I am more interested in the game now. Anyway, I have no specific feelings on this. I guess, well, the expansion is really good and fast, but it's not a game on its own, so it doesn't feel right. Warhammer 2, now I would like to see that. From what I've seen, this is pretty damn. A huge improvement over the first game as well. And Total War, you can never go wrong with Total War games. Rabbids Kingdom Battle. No input on this. It's not a family game because it's single player? Huh. You'd say that it's important for there to be Can you play multiplayer with Super Mario Odyssey? Probably can. Is there no co-op in Sonic Mania? I mean, Sonic 2 has co-op. It would be strange for Sonic Mania not having any sort of co-op. But anyway. Best sports game and racing game. I have no opinion. I am watching Aris of the Avoiding the Puddle Twitch channel. He's playing Gran Turismo Sport, and it's fun to watch him play it because he gets super pissed. He forgets to refuel at pit stops, and he's doing like a street car racing thing, so it's funny, but I don't. The last sports game I played were some NHL games with a buddy of mine. We played a lot of NHL, but it's like, yeah, whatever. No interest. Best multiplayer game. Call of Duty, of course, Destiny 2, Fortnite, Mario Kart 8, PUBG, and Splatoon 2. Well, I mean, it's probably gonna be PUBG because it's a massively popular and flavor of the, well, it's kind of flavor of the year. It's not just a fad. People are still playing this and it's growing, so I don't know. Seems pretty big. I like probably Destiny 2 because you can play like you can play alone, you can play in co-op, you have PvP, you have raids. I think that's a pretty robust number of game modes you can play in multiplayer. That's pretty good. Again, I don't feel very strongly about multiplayer games. The only multiplayer games I play right now are Warframe and Tekken, and that's multiplayer just like one-on-one, so it's like whatever. You heard Call of Duty is a good return to form. I feel like they had a good thing going with the movement system from Advanced Warfare, but apparently it was too difficult for some people, so they got rid of it again. It's like, if I'm gonna play something competitive, I want my character to be buff. And by that I mean, I want good controls. So I would much rather play Quake Champions, for example, and Warframe, because the movement in those games is pretty good. The controls are tight. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from. I want good control over my character if I'm gonna play against other people. That's where the problem is. And I think the Call of Duty 2, World War 2, I can't imagine having too many movement options because you're just a basic dude in the Second World War. I don't know. Seems pretty bog standard and old and tired. I've played too many. Well, here's the thing. Call of Duty, I think those games are always good. They are always good. They're never bad, like totally bad, as far as I know. It's just how many hours have you played of a Call of Duty game online? Unless you really love, you know, first-person shooters, competitive, it's like there's this certain threshold everyone has, after which you just, you know, you don't want to play it anymore. You've had enough. And that's me. I played a lot of Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 3. And after that, I'm like, yeah, alright, I've seen enough. I think I'm good. I don't need to play these games anymore. And I don't miss them. But I also don't shit on them because I think they don't deserve it necessarily. They could probably do better things, and they could possibly afford to innovate in the first-person genre. But you know, it's Activision; they're in for the money, so don't expect innovations and risk-taking. Although, to be fair, Advanced Warfare and the Black Ops franchise, they've been doing some interesting stuff, so yeah, I guess there we go. There we go. What you guys saying here? Modern Warfare, yeah. Call of Duty 4, it's been the good times. I think the most I have played Call of Duty was probably Call of Duty 2. I remember going to the local PC clubs for like LAN games. We've played a lot of Call of Duty 2, oh man. Overwatch should be up there, except it is 2016. Yeah, there's a bunch of games from 2016. Maybe they're going for the fiscal years? I'm not sure. Most anticipated game: God of War, Last of Us again, Monster Hunter World, Red Dead Redemption again, and Spider-Man. Well, these are good nominees, I think. Personally, I play Last of Us 1. I'm like, it was alright, cool game. Not really excited for the second one. God of War, I want to see absolutely 100%. But Monster Hunter coming back to home consoles that are Nintendo and PC? Fuck. That's gonna be great. Red Dead Redemption 2, I really feel like it's going to iterate and it's not gonna be doing anything too differently from the first game, so it's like, yeah, I guess it's gonna be another Red Dead Redemption. Same thing with The Last of Us Part 2. I think those two games will be the same thing, except again. And it's gonna look a bit better, I guess. I'm not invested in stories, you know me. Who the hell anticipates the Spider-Man game? Well, the trailer they showed in the E3 looked pretty good, but yeah, I don't think it should be there among the most anticipated games. Maybe it's just like a brand recognition thing. It is Spider-Man after all, and he had like movie this year, something like Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever. So yeah, maybe we shouldn't underestimate the nerds about the comic books. You know, Spider-Man is a pretty big name, right? For me personally, it's between Monster Hunter and God of War. Because God of War is doing things a bit differently from the previous games, and it looks interesting, and I love Scandinavian mythology, so that's awesome. Also, his beard looks great. And Monster Hunter World, oh boy, I cannot wait. This is gonna be excellent. Yeah, I love hunting games. Hunting games, aka Karige. It's gonna be awesome. Best independent game. Another bit of a toss-up, I think. Because Cuphead and Hellblade, both of these games, I think, definitely deserve this. You know, Cuphead had very troublesome development, but I just want to say, just because the development was troubled doesn't mean it automatically deserves the best independent game award, you know? Just want to say that. just because they had trouble making it doesn't really automatically like make them, you know, better than the rest. Because I kind of feel like that usually happens with this kind of thing. Also, Hellblade wasn't exactly perfect sail, like a smooth sailing when it comes to the development, because these guys, the Ninja Theory, they were really trying to make I also hesitate to say, but they really tried to make a AAA game, like a production value, but don't make it a full price game for $60. So that's also really important. I think these two games definitely deserve it the most. Probably. I can't really speak about the other games. Supergiant Games, I love these guys though. And Fire I haven't played, but I've only heard positive things again. So, yeah. Again, I can't really complain. Like, these nominees are surprisingly solid. I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. I gotta give it up. Best student game. I have no idea what any of this is. Absolutely no idea. Well, it's student games, so I haven't played anything, and I don't know these people, so I think it's gonna be best if I just skip this. Trending gamer. Well, we get some names here. I do recognize Dr. Disrespect because, well, probably everybody who's on Twitch heard about this name at least once or twice. But if I remember right, Clint Lexa, half coordinated. If I remember correctly, let me just check to make 100% sure. If I remember right, this is a guy who played Nier Automata one-handed during this year's SGDQ or AGDQ or one of these things. Half coordinated. Here we go. Game's done quick. They played Taker and Armor with Wings, so that's not that. Maybe I'm mistaking that with somebody else, but I feel like it should be here somewhere. So there's what about AGDQ? Damn, I probably should have prepared this before, huh? Oh yeah, it is him. SGDQ 2017. Alright. Yeah, SGDQ Nier Automata one hand. Exactly. I think this guy definitely does it. Well, I don't know if he's... Well, so here's the thing. Trending gamer. I don't know what that means exactly. So probably somebody who's like making the headlines. I personally would really love this guy to get recognition for what he's done because it's crazy. And I think it would make him more happy. I think it would... So here's the thing. Here's the happiness gauge, right? I think the happiness gauge would be the most filled if Clint Lexa won this award. If Dr. Disrespect wins this, it's gonna be like this full, right? It's gonna be like this full. You know what I mean? Alright, I don't even feel like this should be just for the recognition alone. I like this guy to win this. I don't know the other people, so it's like, yeah, I don't have much say in this. Let's move on. Best esports game. CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League. The usual suspects. I have no opinion on this. Personally, I don't understand how well, on fundamental level, I don't understand how Counter-Strike, Dota, League of Legends, or Overwatch popular to watch. How is it fun to watch these things? I don't get it. Comparing that to fighting games, I just really don't get it. I've watched some CSGO before, I have watched some League of Legends because, you know, I played these games before a lot. So, yeah, I guess for me personally, when I was watching these games, it wasn't really for the games, it was like a communal event where people who played the games with me, we got together and we watched our favorite teams to play. But as far as the game itself and watching the game itself goes, I didn't really enjoy it too much. I didn't really get it. It didn't excite me almost at all. It's like, yeah, I guess we're watching this, but it's like in the background more than anything else. Rocket League, though, I could see that being exciting to watch. But for me personally, it's always gotta be, you know, fighting games. But fighting games are still not exactly esports. We're getting there, but maybe next year, we'll see. Yeah, I think the Rocket League probably has the most potential here. Yeah, as far as spectator degree goes, I would go with Rocket League. Though I have never watched it either, so it's like, yeah, I don't really have to say on this. Best esports player. I'm gonna ignore everything here, and I'm gonna call best esports player JDCR, who plays Tekken, because he's been on a tear. He won almost every single tournament he's been in, except I think 2, maybe 3. But that guy is crazy, and he's amazingly consistent, and I think that's extremely important, especially in a fighting game, where there's a lot of people who can mess you up and study you and stuff like that. So for me, it's JDCR. I don't care about any of these people. Let's skip this. Best esports team, again. Team Liquid has some fighting game people like Liquid Knuckle from Street Fighter 5. So I guess let's go with Team Liquid. Whatever. Best debut indie game. You guys like Hollow Knight, right? So Cuphead, Golf Story, Hollow Knight, Mr. Shifty, Slime Rancher. Yeah, I think Hollow Knight and Cuphead are probably up there. Personally, Cuphead for me is probably gonna do it because I feel like the more awards Cuphead gets, the better. That's it. that's it for me. And best Chinese game. Some people were surprised. Whoa. Best Chinese game? What's this here? But you gotta remember who's paying for these Game Awards shows. That's right. Personally, the only game that I've seen is Icy, and it's like a 2D kinda, I guess, Metroid Igavania thing. I really don't like the animation because it's like a very basic 2D flash animation, and it looks really gross to me. Whenever I see that thing, I'm like, oh my god, no, don't do that. One other game that did the same thing was Southern Sanctuary, also very basic flash animation, and I was like, oh my god, it's so gnarly. I don't want to look at this. The interesting thing is that Vanillaware, who did Odin Sphere, Muramasa, and Dragon's Crown, they use the same technology, but they also like put in some extra frames of animation, like between different stances, like jumping and crouching and all that stuff, so it doesn't look as fucking gross. It actually looks like a nice animation, but it is Flash. It's Flash. Incredible. Those guys know what's up. Whew. Well, I guess that's it for the Game Awards. It's been a freaking hour, and we have still the Japanese news to go through, so I hope you guys are ready. Hope you guys are in for the long haul. Buckle up, because there's more stuff to talk about. Whew. I just want to reiterate, I have surprisingly small amounts of complaints for the nominees. I think this year, I don't know who composed this nominee list, but it's pretty fucking solid, and I think they have outdone themselves. Now, who wins this? I don't think it really matters, because like it's an ad show, so who wins this doesn't really matter. I'm just glad to see some of these names being here in the list, especially because there's a bunch of Japanese stuff. So I'm always glad for Japanese stuff to make it to the Western lists and Western awareness, let's say. That's gonna wrap it up for the Game Awards, and now let's look at the Japanese news. First up, there's a Unreal Engine 4 remake of Caligula Effect. Now, this game came out only on the Vita, as far as I remember, originally. I think it was like last year, and this year was the English version. This game, I know surprisingly a little about. I was very interested when I first saw it because the character designer is Mr. Yasuda, and this guy can draw some very nice characters, let's put it that way. So I was pretty interested in this because it's a JRPG with a bunch of weird ass mechanics and very distinct visual design. But the problem is that on the Vita, it ran like shit. It looked very, very rough. So I'm kind of glad to see there's a PS4 remake in a new engine. This looks pretty good. So I'm pretty interested in this. Hopefully, well, hopefully. I'm pretty sure that if they localize the Vita version of the game, they're definitely gonna localize the PS4 version. It's gonna have a bigger chance of success in the Western market for sure, especially these days. So I'm pretty interested in this. We'll see how it goes. I'm always glad to see more Yasuda, so that's good. Do you guys remember me complaining about Western box arts and how they always trash in comparison to the Japanese ones? Well, here's the Japanese box art for Dissidia NT, and it's not much better. It is not much better. I don't understand what's the deal with CG renders of like 8 million characters on a page. Like, this is not okay. This is pretty ugly. At least they went with the white background. If there was some crazy shit behind them, man, that would be the end of it. But let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So they have these character designers and these character artists, and they're like, alright, I'm gonna draw the character and you're gonna make the CG model, right? So they have the drawings of these characters and they're beautiful. Why don't they use them for the box art? You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Tactics Ogre. You do know who drew Tactics Ogre? Yes, it was Akihiko Yoshida. I think I commented here with the picture somewhere. There it is. Look at this shit. Now that's a box art. If they had the drawings of the characters and in the middle they had the logo, I'll be okay with that. I'll be okay with that. That would be pretty damn cool. This art is glorious. Definitely better than a freaking CG render. It's like totally like generic and average. There's nothing cool about this. I don't know. I just personally have a problem with box arts that have like too much stuff going on in there, too many characters and stuff like that. But when there's like a hunting game, like almost every hunting game I've seen has the trashiest box art because they have to put the main monster in there and then maybe some other monsters in there, and they have to put like several characters in there because, you know, it's the co-op experience. Ugh, it's frustrating, man. Anyway. There's more Final Fantasy news. Apparently there's supposed to be some happy news for Zodiac Age in day after tomorrow, November 21st. So I'm expecting PC news. I'm expecting a PC port announcement because it seems to be pretty obvious, right? You can play once Final Fantasy 15 comes out on PC, you will be able to play every single Final Fantasy mainline on PC except, well, 12. All the other ones are on Steam. And 15 is coming, so they gotta fill the gap, right? They gotta fill the gap. I'm kinda wondering what else could it be? If it's not gonna be the PC port, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna be, what else could you possibly announce as happy news for Final Fantasy 12? Maybe like a continuation of that world? Another Final Fantasy in Ivalice? I'll be okay with that. It's probably not gonna be... If it's gonna be that, it's definitely not gonna be like a full... like a mainline production, because they're already doing the 7 remake and they still wanna do a lot of stuff with the 15. So... well, we'll see. But I definitely wouldn't mind a smaller project in the Ivalice world. I'll be okay with that. But I think it's just gonna be the PC version, realistically speaking. Okay, let's go for more Final Fantasy stuff. So the multiplayer expansion Comrades is now available for $20. But okay, that's a kind of steep price, but you're getting a lot of content because you can play a single player story, you can play with other people, and you can create your own character, and it looks like a pretty deep experience. However, they're saying here it is included in the season pass, which is 25 bucks. So if you buy the season pass for 5 extra bucks, you also get 3 other pieces of DLC, which are like going into the backstory of the other 3 party members in the game. So I think this is a really great value. I like this. I like to see this. I'm interested, and I will play this, though there's other stuff that takes precedence. Let's take a look at the customization, character creation. Yeah. There's the Kingsglaive uniform as well. I like to see. Oh, there's more codes. Oh shit. There's a waistcoat as well. Damn, maybe I should take a look at this sooner rather than later. If you don't want to play with other people, you can play through the stuff on your own. Also, there's been the patch which allows you to take more hunts, like multiple hunts at once. What's all this? Oh. Yeah, this looks interesting. I like this. I'm definitely gonna pay attention to this at some point. Now, next piece is the release date for the Western release of Dynasty Warriors 9. Apparently it's February 13th, North America and Europe. So that's good. In Japan it's releasing on February 8th. So this is kind of surprising to me because usually it took like a month or 3 to localize these games. But like I said previously on the previous week, Koei Tecmo definitely is starting to take the Western market more seriously. They're releasing stuff pretty quickly and on multiple platforms, including the PC, so I'm pretty okay with this. Granted, the PC ports are very, how should I say this, in a diplomatic way. They have, well, I don't really want to talk about this. We know what the situation is. The PC ports are not great, but they work, so I guess that's good enough. But is it good enough for 60 bucks? Not so sure about that. Either way, Dynasty Warriors 9 will be here in February. So, I said that previously, but early 2017 was insane. Insane. Persona 5, Nioh, Nier, Gravity Rush 2, Tales of Berseria, all those games in early 2017. Whoa. And now early 2018 is Dynasty Warriors 9, Monster Hunter World, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and there's probably some other stuff that I'm forgetting, but it's already shaping up to be pretty crazy early 2018. So that's cool. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, they put out some gameplay of Secret of Mana remake. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not feeling this at all. Like, I mean, I guess it's cool they're remaking this for the current generation of children, but like, almost whenever there's like the transition between the pixel art into the 3D stuff, and they go for super deformed 3D models, I'm like, man, this looks so whack. Ugh. Alright, Meta, remember, ask that question again once we're done here. I'm gonna go back to that and explain a bit about Dynasty Warriors 9, because they do some new stuff. Yeah, I don't know about this. This looks super whack. It's just a personal thing again. I really don't like 3D super deformed models. It's like, whoa. When it's like a 2D pixel art, alright, make it as cute as you can. But 3D? No, not feeling it. There's more footage on Monster Hunter World, a new area, which I will not watch because I do not want to get spoiled on Monster Hunter World. I want to see the monsters and I want to see the areas in the game. So if you want to check it out, check it out. It's out there somewhere. You know what? I'm just gonna link it in chat if you're interested. You can take a look at it. There's a video down here. Oh man, what's going on here? Looks like some Nico personalities. Interesting. Now, Shining Resonance. I don't know much about this. I don't have much to say, except I just want to complain and lament for a second. I think I have played Shining Blade or something, EX or whatever kind of crazy name on the PS2. It was a pretty interesting action RPG that had some unique mechanics for character building and the game, like the combat system. I liked it a lot. But most importantly, the Shining games have the character designer Tony Taka, and these designs are very nice. They're very beautiful. They are very easy to look at, and these games are never gonna get localized, and I'm a bit sad. I'm a bit sad because it kind of looks like a Tales of game, except with character designs made by Tony Taka. So I really whoa, wait a minute. I didn't check the link. I didn't check the article. Well, hopefully it's not too crazy for Twitch. Either way, I guess you guys are getting an idea what I'm talking about here. If you don't know who Tony Taka is, look the name up, type it in Google and see what you can find in the image search, and let me know if you like it. It's gonna be something along these lines, but yeah. Anyway, it's Sega. Sega doesn't localize things unless it's Miku or Sonic. And these days, I guess Kiryu. I'm glad they are localizing Yakuza games. Though I'm still waiting for Sega to remaster Resonance of Fate, but I always complain about that, so let's not go into that anymore. And now the fighting game block. Dragon Ball FighterZ adds Gotenks, Kid Buu, and Mystic Gohan. To me, that's a bit surprising. I was not expecting Gotenks to be here. You guys know how I feel about kids. I don't think kids are cool in any way, usually. Although, if the kid is Super Saiyan 3, I guess I'm gonna allow it. I guess. Adult Gohan, I feel like... Gohan is already there, but that's Teen Gohan in Super Saiyan 2. I think this is alright. This probably should be in the basic roster, so I'm totally okay with this. It's just that I would like to see, like, where's Broly, man? He is from the movies, so maybe he's gonna be relegated to DLC. Also because everybody's gonna want Broly in their game, so that's a good DLC candidate. So people would buy it. Either way, so we have Majin Buu and Kid Buu. That's kinda weird, you know? Because you can have both of the characters in the team. You can also have the young Gohan and old Gohan in the same team. And it's getting also you can have Future Trunks and Gotenks. Although that kind of makes sense because Future Trunks comes from the future, so it's kind of allowable, I guess. And I think old Trunks and Kid Trunks met. But I think that was only in Dragon Ball GT, I'm not sure. Either way, it's wacky as fuck, and I can't really complain about these characters. I think they're okay. I'm not excited about any of these, personally, but that's mostly because my main characters are already in the game. Though I'm still waiting for Videl, Chi-Chi, and Master Roshi, and Mr. Satan. I'd like to see those guys in the roster at some point. Definitely Pigtail Videl has gotta be in the game. If old Gohan is there, then Videl should be as well. Now, we've seen some information and some footage of Arika's EX Layer game. It didn't have a name before until now, which they announced. It's a Fighting EX Layer, which is kind of weird sequence of words. I think Fighting Layer EX would probably make a bit more sense, but whatever. Anyway, Arika, these guys are known for Street Fighter EX games, which were like the first attempts at 3D Street Fighter game. Well, though I don't think you could sidestep in the game. So I guess it was 2.5D Could you sidestep? I did not play those games. I'm gonna be totally honest. I only know the soundtrack because those 3 games had some really good music in there, especially Garuda's theme. It's also one of my favorite DDR songs to dance on, so Garuda's theme is pretty freaking awesome. Unreal Engine. Yeah, I like to see this logo. It's the same engine as Street Fighter V and Tekken 7. Can you tell? From this little footage, you can definitely see the similarity to Tekken 7, I think. Although it is like a step below from the technical proficiency, I think. It still looks pretty damn good. I'm pretty interested in this, but the problem here is probably the Golgi system, the little orbs down there. People were complaining a lot about the gem system in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and this seems kind of like the same thing, so wonder how's that gonna turn out. Shirase? Hey, it's a... Is that a new character? Hokuto is supposed to be Shirase. I guess that's like a demon form, like an evil Ryu type of thing. Giant hands. Well, it is a fighting game. In fighting games, the limbs are big, so it's easier to read. It's all very intentional design choice, I assure you. And if you're into this sort of thing, I mean, you can't really complain, right? There's gonna be a beta test on the PS4 on December 11th. It begins. So if everything goes well, I'm probably gonna play this on stream. I'm definitely interested to try this out and check it out. We've played Dragon Ball Fighter Z on the stream, so yeah, we'll take a look at this. And now, your regularly scheduled program. Buy Okami HD for PS4, Xbone, and or PC in December. Okay, guys? Buy Okami HD. Just saying. I want you guys to buy this game. I don't care where or how or which platform, but buy this game. Hurry up and buy! Okami HD. December 12th, I believe, is the Western release. And I don't care if you like 3D Zeldas. I don't care if you like Japanese folklore. I don't care about any of that shit. I just want you to buy the game. That's it. I'm gonna be streaming this, obviously. I'm gonna be buying the PS4 version personally, because I don't want, well, here's the deal. 2 things. Usually I would just buy the game on the PC because my PC is pretty okay and it would probably run better on my PC than it would run on PS4, but I want to stream this and I will have a bigger chance of having more eyeballs on my stream if I stream it from the PS4, and I want PS4 buttons on the heads-up display. I don't want to see any of that A, X, B, Y shit on my fucking screen when I play video games. Alright? I don't want to see that shit. I want to see X, I want to see circle, I want to see square, I want to see triangle. Also, I want to get the trophies for this game because I really love platinuming games that I love or care about in some way. And Okami is definitely going to be one of them. Whew. Okami is going to be a pain in the ass to platinum, but I believe we can do that. I think there's like a 1 or 2 missable things that if we know about, it should not be a problem. There's 100 beads that we're going to have to find, and that's going to be a pain in the ass, but... Oh shit, I just noticed! The dialogues in Japanese actually have furigana. That's pretty cool! That means I could play this in Japanese and maybe even learn a thing or two. Most peculiar. In case you guys don't know what furigana is, let me blow it up so you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's pause this here. So here you can see the complicated ass kanji, right? There's the multiple strokes character, and above it you can see slightly less complicated characters. This is kana. Specifically, this is hiragana, which is like the basic alphabet. So this is how you read these kanji. So this is Kazegami, which is wind god, the god of wind. Kazegami. Now, these two kanji characters, I know these specifically. But, you know, the thing is, this character can also be read as Arashi, for example, and there's like 8 million other ways to read this. And depending on how you read it and where in the sentence it is, it has different meanings, so it's kind of great. It can get kind of crazy. So basically, I can find out how do I read this, and if I would use my Denji Jisho on the other monitor, I could ascertain what the hell are these symbols. Well, I don't want to say symbols, characters. And I could totally translate on my own, because I have some understanding of the grammar. So yeah, it seems like I could even play this in Japanese. That's cool. Though there is a little need to do that, because there's no voice acting. The voice acting is in the form of it sounds like these. So yeah, you don't need to worry about that. But it is beautiful. It looks, man, it looks beautiful. The text looks beautiful. 1080p kanji. Hell yeah. Anyway, buy this game. That's it. That's it. We're done. Whoops. It's Steam. We're done. Woo. Totally forgot about the Game Awards. I was thinking this episode was gonna be short because there was not. I don't remember there being too many news besides the Noctis entering Tekken 7, which I made a video about already. But I forgot about the Game Awards. So yeah, I'm glad you guys stuck around. I think we got some good stuff going on here. I'm glad I was able to tune in as well, because yesterday I was on the tournament and stuff like that. Alright, so Dynasty Warriors. I didn't really look into everything the game does because I don't wanna be spoiled, right? But from what I have gathered, the game is entering the open world structure. So in the open world, you'll be like hunting animals, you'll be gathering stuff, and you can like attack encampments at night and stuff like that. And that is very new. The previous Dynasty Warriors games were like very basic in the basic gameplay loop. Select a mission, you do the mission. Now the missions have like there's a good variety in the objectives that you have to clear. Damn. Okay, we can do that later. There's a decent variety of mission objectives, so that's cool. And there's a huge variety of characters, which is cool, but Dynasty Warriors 9 being a new game in like a new engine and everything's just brand new, there's gonna be a bunch of cloned characters with cloned movesets. So a lot of people are hating on that, but I kind of feel like they're forgetting that this is a new game, the new engine, with new technical challenges. So it's gonna take a few expansions before we again get like the 20-something weapon categories we had with Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends Complete Edition. That edition was like it was like 5 years in the making at least. So I have no doubt that the game is going to be at least alright. It's just that it's not going to be as huge and as deep and as varied as Dynasty Warriors 8, because, like I said, that game has been iterated upon many times, so we're gonna get there at some point. I think it's gonna be alright. I'm not really too worried about it. The question is, how will the AI suffer in the open world, because AI is always the first sacrifice for open worlds. Though I think if they like do instances for the story segments and some of the more scripted battles, I think it should be okay. I don't really think it should be too much of a problem. Sesai looks beautiful in the game, so I'm alright. I'm okay. I'm not too worried. Alright, so I guess that's gonna wrap it up. And here's the YouTube outro. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next week. There may be a hot Lewd pick on the 21st, after depending on what the Final Fantasy 12 announcement is. If it's just gonna be the PC version, I'm probably not gonna cover that. But if it's gonna be something more interesting, something more unexpected, then you can expect me to cover that shit up. I think that's gonna do it, and I'll catch you guys next week. Tune in also for more streams of games. I stream almost like daily in the European afternoon or evening, and I'll be more than happy to see you guys. For now, I think that's gonna do it. Whew. Catch you guys later. And outro. Now, is there anything else? Is there anything else?